Namaste. I am Prahalad, student of Vidya Mandir Mailapur in Standard 7. My question is, yoga being such a slow form of physical activity, how does it benefit in the long run?
Okay. I think you are some 8 or 9 years old. I'm happy you are asking this question. Unlike what you think, yoga has got many types of practices. And yoga is not just a physical practice alone. There are many more things to yoga. But when you started learning a language, they had to tell you A for apple, E, like that. They had to introduce something very, very, easy and simple. They didn't want to frighten you with a long poem. Imagine if they started off with a poem from Shakespeare and told you that, and they said, "Now you have to remember this," how you will feel. Like that, when the teachers are introducing yoga to you, they want to ensure that it's easy. You feel that it's simple, and you can also learn it and participate. But it has very dynamic practices. One such practice that I can tell you is called Surya Namaskara. And one more practice that I can tell you, it's called Chandra Namaskara. Surya Namaskara has got 12 postures done 2 times, but Chandra Namaskara has got 24 postures. And it's a very beautiful practice which has got mantras of Devi, of Shakti, and both the practices are very dynamic practices. And in the Satyananda Yoga tradition that we teach, there are so many practices that belong to the dynamic group of practices. All these dynamic practices have to be taught once you prepare yourself and have some amount of flexibility. See, the thing is, the practices of yoga, they don't work only on the muscles and the heart and the lungs. You go to any exercise form, you usually have rhythm. You take a step, 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 and do so many times, or you put weights and you work on the muscle. So it's always like that. But the system of yoga, it works on the skeleton, it works on the linkages, it works on the muscles, it works on all the organs. It massages and stretches all the organs. It works on the nerves. It works on the endocrine glands. So one set of exercise has influence on all these things. Therefore, to introduce such a complex system, first they thought, the people who developed the system of yoga thought that first you have to become little bit flexible so that you will not get injured. So whatever you are learning primarily at this stage of learning is appearing to you as slow, because they just want you to develop flexibility in the wrist, in the elbow, in the shoulder, in the rib cage, in the spinal cord, in the hip, in the knee, in all the joints. In the next stage, they will introduce practices which will stretch the muscles, which will work on all the organs that we have told you. Once you are flexible and once you are strong, then you can introduce practices of agility. I think it's a very scientific approach also. If you want to be fit, the 4 parameters that you'll have to look at is, first is flexibility, second is strength, third is agility, fourth is endurance, fifth is power. You can't train only for power. If you train only for power, and that too if you train at a young age, at let's say 7, you will not grow. Your muscle will become restricted. The reason why yoga teaches very simple practices to begin with is because your full capacity to grow should be supported. Let's say you can become 5 foot 11 inches. If you do weight training power practices, you'll get stunted to 5'7" or 5'3" or 5'5", which is not good for you. You need to grow to your full capacity. Therefore, we introduce simple, easy practices to begin with. Once your flexibility and once your strength are developed, then we can introduce agility to you. And there are so many beautiful practices. You should come to our Vivekananda Cultural Center and don't stop coming, because in the initial stages they may teach you something very simple. Continue to come here and get up to the point where you become a youth and you attend our youth program. Till then you continue these simple practices. In the youth program we will actually bring the entire wisdom of what our rishis have introduced, which has been preserved in the tradition. We will introduce them to you, and then it will be very interesting. Now, when it comes to how it will be useful to you, in the previous answer for discussing about both my introduction for the COVID and for the previous question, I think I have addressed how it will be helpful to you. It will definitely be helpful to you. Continue your practice. Thank you. The question is, will yoga help only in the physical dimension, or will it help in the mental, emotional, intellectual, vital, psychic and spiritual dimensions also? Actually, yoga says that we have got 5 bodies. It doesn't say that we have one body. And whatever we call as yoga, unfortunately we call it as yoga, it should be called as yoga asana. Yoga asana is what is popular all over the world. You know, people wearing that tight fit dress and they're showing like that, beautiful postures and all that, where they take a photo shoot and post it, and you feel like, you see some film actress doing some yoga posture and you feel, wow, jaw dropping. That is not the only dimension of yoga. That's a small portion of yoga. Do you understand? Like, have you been to this Vivekananda Cultural Center? If you have been, the gate itself is very big, right? And then you have a huge car park, right? Then you have this these classroom labs and all these places where they can conduct different activities. But is this the Vivekananda Cultural Center? The bigger place is there where Swami Vivekananda stayed. You go into that building, it will just take you through a winding pathway to a place which is full of bliss, right? So if you imagine, if you go put the hand on the gate on the road and you say, I have been to Vivekananda Center. Lot of people are doing asanas and they are saying that, yeah, I know yoga. It's not like that. I would say that the asana portion of yoga is like the handle of the gate at the entrance. Rest of yoga is so much more is there, because yoga does not deal with you as your body. Yoga has a deep, complete understanding about you. You have a body, right? What else do you have? Don't tell me I have a brain, I have heart, I have a lung. That is all body. All comes under body itself. What else do you have? Anything else do you have? If it's a classroom, I will not let you without you opening the mouth, because this is an online video. I myself am telling you, you have a intellect, right? You are able to understand what I am saying. I am talking in French, no? Correct? No. Oh, I am talking in English. So you are able to decide which language I am talking in. Am I a short, stout person, or am I a tall, lanky person? Am I thin like a grass, or am I built well, you are able to make out all these differences. Correct? So you have intelligence, capacity to receive information, process information, and then make that into your knowledge. Now imagine you have a strong body, okay, and you don't have any intelligence. If I tell you, you have to go, and then you go away, and then you come back and ask, Swamiji, you said I have to go, so I went. What will happen? You have to listen fully, no? So you should have concentration. So you have to have concentration, you have to have intelligence, and if I tell you, hey, can't you understand? And you start crying, what will happen? You need healthy emotions. If you keep on weeping, will people like you? Or if you keep on shouting at everybody, like some people are there, they are like these dragons. You've seen all these movies, no, where you have pet dragons and all. In Harry Potter also, in one, that Hagrid has one small egg, and one dragon comes out, and he goes and he does that, it opens his mouth and spits fire. Right? Some people speak like that. When they open their mouth, fire comes out, you feel burnt. That's called spitting fire. Very angry people. If you're so angry, full of hard emotions, or if you're full of jealousy, if you're full of fear, can you be happy? Tell me. If you don't have any intelligence, can you be happy? Tell me. So you need not just a body, you need intelligence, you need good memory, you need concentration, you need proper emotions. Okay, let's say you have all of this. You have a good healthy body, you have intelligence, you have good emotions, you have a lot of memory, you have good concentration, everything is there, but there is no energy, battery totally down. Then what will happen? You are an intelligent person in coma, let us say, no energy at all, always sleeping like a sloth. And they are conducting all the classes on artificial intelligence, and they are teaching you how to make robots in school and all that, and you are sleeping. What will happen? You need a lot of energy, no? You have to, if you want to go and play, let's say you want to play football or basketball, or you want to play cricket, don't ask me how we will play now in COVID. COVID will go away. Like in 1918, flu came and went away. After that, we have been playing for all these years. Very soon you'll be playing, right? So you need energy. Without energy, if you have intelligence and all that stuff, or without energy you have a body, what is the use? So the rishis, they said that you have an Annamaya Kosha, a physical body, you have a Pranamaya Kosha, a pranic body. They said you have a Manomaya Kosha, a mental body. Then they said there are two more dimensions, a Vijnanamaya Kosha and Anandamaya Kosha. Vijnanam means gaining intuitive knowledge, and Anandamaya Kosha is bliss, happiness, which is not at all restricted, which doesn't have any boundaries. So the system of yoga helps in developing all these five: the physical, the vital, the mental, the intuitive, and the bliss. And when you have a strong body, healthy body at the physical, vital, mental, intuitive, and the bliss, then behind that is you, whom you call as I, is called as the Atman. That's what yoga says. You are the Atman. So I can sing a song for you. I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am not the senses, immortal self am I. Soham, Soham, Soham Shivoham, Soham Shivoham, Soham Shivoham. Yoga takes care of all these things: the physical, the vital, the mental, the intuitive, and also the bliss. And then you can discover your own true glorious nature. You know the quote of Swami Vivekananda, you are the child of God. He says you have to get up and you should not stop till you reach your goal. He quotes from a Upanishad. The Upanishad Vakyam is Amritasya putraha uttishtata jagrata prapya varan nibodata. We in our tradition, we don't consider ourselves as sinners. We consider ourselves as the child of divinity, as a spark of divinity. Okay? Thank you.
And then I'm from class 7 from Vidya Mandir Senior Secondary School. My question is, how will yoga keep human beings away from COVID-19?
Very nice question, responsible question, Abhinandan. You have invoked how yoga can help people in this difficult situation. First thing is, it can make a person healthy, fit, about which I spoke in the introduction. Okay, so all the organs, all the systems, all of them can be fit and healthy. Therefore, that is one very important benefit that you get when you regularly practice yoga. The second important thing is the amount of energy you will have can be properly balanced when you regularly practice yoga. The fact that you're sitting at home and always at home, when you go away to school, you have a lot of friends to talk to, you have a lot of pranks that you can play with them, but now the situation is not like that. Amma will keep asking you for some small help. She will do so much work and she will ask you for some small help, but if you don't have the energy and if you say, I can't do this, she will feel disturbed, and she is also living in the same space and she is continuously seeing your face. She is continuously seeing your father's face, your grandmother's face, grandfather's face. She also is tired, no? So if you don't have sufficient amount of energy in this situation, people can start feeling monotonous. Enthusiasm, utsaham, we call it as in yoga. In Hatha Yoga Pradipika, the author says, Utsaha sahasat dhairyat tattvajnanascha nischayat jana sangascha parityagaha. That portion COVID has blessed us with. Jana sangascha parityagaha. You should not meet anybody. If you want to become a yogi, you should not meet unwanted people. Is a condition that Swatmanama Yogi is telling, and COVID has blessed us. We are not able to meet anybody, right? We are living in a quarantine environment. What about the rest of them? And what is the first thing he is saying? Utsaha, sahasa, dhairya. These three things, utsaham, sahasam and dhairyam, you will get when you do yoga. How will you get utsaham? When you do good breathing, you will have a lot of prana. When lot of prana is there, that prana will become very dense. When very less prana is there, it will become very loose. Okay? So when prana quantity increases and increases and increases and increases and increases, and within this body, if it gets condensed and condensed and condensed, then it will change into what is called as ojas. Ojas means each and every cell is filled with prana and surrounded by prana, which means disease cannot easily enter into the cell. Now if you continue your practice, okay, regular practice, that ojas will get converted into what is called as tejas. Prana is the wind element in the body. Ojas is the liquid element in the whole body. But when it gets converted into tejas, it will become fire element of prana. That fire element of prana will fill into your higher brain centers. You remember I was mentioning to you about the higher brain centers and the lower brain centers. when the higher brain centers get prana supply in the form of tejas, then you will have what is called as medha shakti. You know, there is even a chant in the Vedas called Medha Suktam. Mai Medham, Mai Prajam Dhadati. The chanting is there where a Medha Suktam is chanted and the chanter prays for awakening of Medas. Nina Periya Medhavya. In Tamil they used to ask. Which means if the Medha gets awakened, then you will become a genius. Oh, you know, possible that when a scientist becomes a genius scientist, they may be able to find even a vaccination for COVID. So yoga can help everybody. You can become healthy, you can become enthusiastic, you can become robust, then you can become a genius. Therefore, it not only works on the physical dimension and make you fit, it will make you energetic. The third thing that you have to remember is today everybody is afraid, full of fear. Sarvam bhayamayam. Today, biggest problem is not even COVID. Biggest problem is the fear of what will happen if I have or if somebody has COVID. So how to overcome this fear? In our system, as I was mentioning to you, in the lower brain, that is where you have bhayam. In the highest brain, you have creativity. Do you understand? The lowest brain has got bhayam, primitive brain. The highest brain is connected with the cosmos. And then when the highest brain functions, then you have what is called as intuition, spontaneous knowledge. So, when you have such a liberating mind which is vast and not afraid, not being pulled down, then you will be able to look at what solutions you can create. You will be able to help within your house, you will be able to help your mother, help your father, help your sister, help your brother, granny, grandpa. You will become a great contributor to your house. And if all the members of your house practice, if all of them become contributors, you know what you will do? You will not be sitting inside a cave and worrying, will I get COVID, will I get COVID. Instead, you will cook food and you will feed the dogs. You will give a little bit to the crows. You will make 4 or 5 packets. You will keep it in front of your house. You will put a nice, beautiful POP and you will say, if you are hungry, this is for you. And somebody who is walking, if they are hungry, they will pick up and they will say, whoever made this gesture, let them be happy in their life. You will become a contributor. See, Swami Vivekananda says, if you live the life only for yourself, you are as good as dead. Only when you live for others. In fact, when somebody comes and takes a sannyas in this Ramakrishna order, they are told very clearly, Atmano mokshartam lokahitartaya. Your sannyas should become useful to this society. It will give you liberation. But what is the use of your liberation if it is not helpful to this society? If you alone are going to be in good health, let's say you do yoga and you won't get COVID, and happily you sit and 4 times, 5 times you eat and you watch movies and you enjoy, and around you everybody is suffering, what is the use? So yoga will not limit only to your house. When you become strong, when you become creative, when you become enthusiastic, you will start contributing to people around you. You will break your hundi, take the money out of it, and you will give it to somebody and take care of them. You will become generous. You will become confident. These are the lovely benefits that yoga will get you, apart from being just healthy for yourself. Okay? Thank you.
Namaste. I'm Tanvi from Vidya Mandir, and my question on yoga is, can we improve eyesight and avoid glasses if we do yoga regularly?
This question is by Tanvi from 6th standard. I have a very good news for you, Tanvi. I have personal experience also. We conducted a 6-month program for a school in Triplicane so many years back, I think in the year 2000. And since then we have been teaching to so many schools all over the country. So in this particular experiment, there were 65 children and almost 90% of them were wearing glasses. So we taught them specific eye practices and we taught them what is called as palming. And when they did those practices regularly, many of them were able to completely get rid of their eye problems. Their power from -3 or +3 became almost nil, and many of them were able to remove their glasses by the end of 6 months' time. So I am going to teach you these practices now, very simple practices, and you can do it daily. And if you do regularly, every day once you have to do minimum. If you have time during the day, if you feel tired, if you want to give your eyes some rest, you can do this practice couple of more times, nothing wrong. So the first practice is you have to sit straight and you have to look up and look down. Okay, so when I say up, you will not do up. When I say down, you will not do down. Then it will become neck exercise. Right? No, you have to do for the eye. You will sit without moving the body. When I say up, you look up like this. Now also I am looking up. Now also I am looking up. You have to understand the difference. You can't look at some distant object up. You have to look at the closest object above your forehead. And when I say down, you have to look at the closest object to the nose tip on the floor. Up, down. Very good. You are also doing up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Last time, up, down. Now you do 5 times like this, and then you have to close your eyes. Like how I did, you have to do 5 rounds up and down and then close your eyes. Once you close your eyes, now you have a look at the demonstration. You can see it and do later on. You have to rub the hands like this till they become totally hot. Once the hands become hot, you have to close your eyes like this. You should not close the eyes like this. This is not closing the eyes, this is poking the eyes. Okay? You should not close the eyes like this. This is not closing the eyes, this is squeezing the eyes. Hand should be kept like a cup, and you keep the hand over the eye like this. Now you open your eyes inside. Check whether any light is coming from anywhere. Adjust your hand and then close your eyes. Now keep the hands there for some time. Now you drop your hand down. This is the first practice. I am going to teach you 2 more. Okay? Up and down 5 times. Now right and left. So you should not turn your head to the right and left. You will only move the eyelids. The eyes. Right? You see now. Then you can do. And left. You see to the farthest point that you can see on the right side, close to your face, and to the left also like that. Okay? Right, left, right, left, right. Now you can do left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Now close your eyes, do palming. And drop your hands down. Third practice, you keep your hand right in front of your eyesight and in front of an object that you are seeing. So if you look at the thumb, it is straight in between that object and your eyes. Okay. Now when I say distant object, you have to look at that distant object that you have chosen. When I say nail, you have to look at the nail of your thumb. And when I say nose tip, you have to look at your nose tip. I am just showing to you. There is one camera person sitting in front of me. He is my distant object, and I am keeping my hand in between him and my eye. So distant object, I am seeing him. Nail, I am seeing my thumbnail. Nose tip, I am seeing my nose tip. You should not see my nose tip, okay? Again, nail, distant object. Nail, nose tip. 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 Now drop your hand down. Do palming. Drop your hand down, open your eyes. So 3 practices, up and down, right and left, distant object, nail, nose tip, 5 times. After each practice, you do palming. And whenever it's possible, you can wash your eyes with fresh, plain chill water, not fridge water, room temperature, plain water. Keep washing your eyes and do not dig into the eyes. Gently use a towel and dry them up. And if you know, you can chant Aditya Hridayam, or you can learn it. If you can't learn it, if you cannot chant it, you can at least play it and hear it. Aditya Hridayam is chanting to sun. And according to the Vedas, the Purva Bhaga of the Vedas, sun is the presiding deity for eyesight. So if you chant that mantra, it will have an influence on your eye. And you can also have food that is useful for improving eyesight. So you ask a doctor, they will tell you you can eat greens, you can eat amla, gooseberries, and many other things that they will suggest you. You can have them regularly and your eyesight will improve. And if you are a person who becomes angry, just become aware that you are becoming angry, calm down, because anger affects vision. Okay, so these things are very useful tips, and I hope if you regularly practice and follow these things, your eyesight will improve. Hari Om. Thank you.